For many years, people have been worried about the damage being done to our planet. It's not that we don't care, but more often it's simply that we don't know how, as individuals, we can make a difference. But we can all make a big difference, just by considering more carefully the choices we make in our everyday lives, especially in our own homes. The Eco House was set up by Environ, an environmental charity, with support from Leicester City Council. Originally built in the 1920s and now extensively added to, the Eco House includes a wide range of environmental features and ideas, suitable for refurbishing an existing house, as well as for new build or extensions. The Eco House is the flagship project of Environ, based in Leicester.
The Eco House is just one of many initiatives which Environ manages to raise environmental awareness and to encourage individuals to take action. Here we can see hundreds of ideas and solutions aimed at householders to house builders, helping us all to reduce the environmental impact choices we make.
The Eco House was designed to reduce our impact on the environment, utilising low energy power systems, harnessing natural resources, and selecting products and materials which meet strict environmental criteria.
The Eco House is an important example of environmentally friendly construction. The government's Energy Efficiency Best Practice Programme has sponsored a video of construction as a best practice guide. We are using an ordinary builder to make a statement that you do not need specialists to build in an energy efficient way.
Materials used in building construction are generally produced without much thought for the environment we live in, and the extraction of common building materials is depleting our natural resources, with some wood products causing large-scale deforestation. But in the Eco House, wherever possible, the materials are reclaimed, reused and recycled. The bricks, which are colour damaged, would otherwise have been thrown away into landfill, and the blocks, which are made from waste from power stations, have good thermal properties, contributing to the energy efficiency of the house. All the timber used in the redevelopment of the Eco House was sourced from properly managed forests, where there is controlled farming of trees and replanting. The Forest Stewardship Council certify wood-producing forests, which are managed with a good standard of environmental care. And all timber from these sources are branded with the FSC name and logo. To be energy efficient, the house must be airtight, primarily to keep the heat in and the cold out. But ventilation is also important, to ensure that we have a constant supply of fresh air circulating the house. But how do we achieve both? Insulating walls can cut heat loss by up to 60%. Cavity wall insulation uses insulating materials such as mineral wool or glass wool, and the 150mm wider cavity allows for thicker insulation. Double glazing also dramatically reduces heat loss, and filling the cavity between panes of glass with a gas can reduce this heat loss even further. In the Eco House, argon gas is used as an insulator. If you're working to a low budget, secondary glazing with glass, perspex or cling film prevents drafts. Thermal curtain linings can also be added for further comfort. Loft insulation is a simple but efficient insulating technique. In the Eco House, rolls of rock wool have been laid 8 inches thick to meet building regulations, whilst leaving space between the insulation and the eaves to allow for ventilation. To insulate the floor, chicken wire is placed between the joists, leaving a gap to allow the air to flow underneath, protecting against damp. A blanket of insulation is placed over this. Pipes can lose a lot of heat and should be lagged with foam. Thermal external doors have a foam core to keep the cold out and the warmth in. And draft excluders can also be attached to letterboxes and keyholes for an easy and cheap way of keeping the home airtight. In an airtightness test, the Eco House was 10 times more airtight than the average home. Of course, we need to have a constant supply of fresh air in each room, which requires an efficient way of circulating air around the house. To save energy, we must also recover heat from the stale air before it leaves the house. A heat recovery unit installed within the walls allows heat exchange to occur, where cold air coming into the house takes the heat from the stale air going out. Ventilation is also necessary for drying clothes. This drying cupboard uses a passive stack ventilator which works like a chimney. Air passes up to the roof where water is extracted by wind action. A comfortable and environmentally friendly home requires an efficient heating system. Underfloor heating can be set at a lower temperature than conventional heating systems because the heat reaches every part of the room as it rises. Continuous plastic pipes run on top of the floor slabs, transporting heated water to and from the boiler. These are covered by sand or concrete screed to allow the heat to pass through. Underfloor heating has health benefits too, reducing humidity and inhibiting dust mites. But if your house has a more conventional radiator system, there are ways of improving its efficiency. Reflective foil can be placed behind radiators to prevent heat escaping through the walls, and heating controls and thermostatic radiator valves allow temperature flexibility. A condensing gas boiler provides hot water more efficiently than conventional boilers. The flue gases are recycled inside the boiler and pass through a heat exchanger that extracts heat from the recycled air. It's more expensive than a conventional boiler, but in the long term the system is cheaper and gives more heat for each unit of gas used. Hot water is held in a thermal buffer store. A blender valve mixes hot and cold water to give supplies of water at a constant temperature, according to different needs. For comfort and efficiency, we need to balance natural lighting with artificial lights, and so low-energy lighting solutions are used throughout the house. Large areas of glazing maximize light and heat created by the sun. This process, known as passive solar gain, is more effective with south-facing glazing, as used in the Eco House. However, care must be taken not to overheat rooms in the summer. Conventional power stations using gas or coal are inefficient and have very high carbon dioxide emissions. Nuclear power stations create waste disposal problems. But by using renewable energy, the need for power stations is reduced. The Eco House generates some of its own power using solar radiation and wind movement. A small wind turbine on the roof picks up wind movement and generates electricity. This is ideal for houses in remote places or on a boat or caravan. Electricity is generated by harnessing solar energy using photovoltaic panels. Photovoltaic panels, which are made from silicon, have been sited on the south-facing roof of the Eco House. Electricity which is generated through the silicon is converted from DC to AC by an inverter and distributed around the house. This system will power approximately a third of all the electricity required. However, if there's not sufficient sun to supply enough energy to the house, then an automatic trigger imports the power supply from the national grid. The sun is also used to heat water. Flat plate collectors coated in black to absorb solar radiation have been placed on the roof and filled with an antifreeze-like fluid. On a clear day, the water is heated and stored in the thermal buffer tank. The average house uses 600 litres of water a day, but simple water-saving methods demonstrated in the Eco House can substantially reduce this amount. The Eco House collects rainwater from the roof, where it's fed into an underground storage tank. The water is used for flushing toilets or distributed to taps in the garden. One of the toilets within the house uses a composting system that requires no mains water supply at all. There is no smell, and after 6 months, you can actually use it as compost for flower beds. Water used for washing is described as grey water. The grey water is taken from the house along a ditch into a wetland, where the water is processed by reeds that take out any impurities. As all of the soaps and detergents used in the Eco House will be biodegradable, the water will not be harmful to vegetation. The wetland has a clay base that allows the water to slowly seep out and feed plants in the garden. In the house, new technology can be used to reduce water usage. An electronic sensor switches the tap on once hands are placed below the tap. Spray taps use less water than ordinary taps. The Eco House uses a central vacuum unit rather than a vacuum cleaner, which benefits asthma sufferers by reducing dust pollution and dust mites. Mounted on a wall in the basement, long hoses are used to connect it to the rest of the house. Dust is extracted straight into the unit, away from the interior of the house, and unlike normal vacuum cleaners, dust particles are unable to filter back into the air. The production of PVC produces a cocktail of toxic chemicals harmful to humans and animals. These chemicals are also released if PVC is incinerated or left in landfill sites. PVC can be found all over the home, in wallpaper, blinds, shower curtains, cabling, window frames, pipes and gutters. The Eco House has found alternatives. The cabling is LSF cabling, or low smoke and fume. Drainage pipes are made from clay, the heating pipes from polypropylene, door finishes are metal, and the window frames are made from FSC certified timber. An environmentally friendly house looks just as attractive as any other house, and there is a wide range of green choices to add the finishing touches. The Eco House demonstrates this range. The kitchen worktops are made from recycled coffee cups, and the splashback has been made from yogurt pots. The wallpaper is made with recycled paper and applied with a natural paste. The paints and varnishes are manufactured using natural minerals, dyes and plants. Some of the carpets are recycled from old wool. Others use natural backing and adhesives. All the fixtures and fittings are non-PVC. And there is a vast range of alternative floor coverings displayed in the Eco House, with recycled rubber tyres used as underlay, aeroplane tyres as entrance matting, and natural materials such as cork, rubber and marmoleum. The Eco Garden is designed to be organic, making its own compost and avoiding the use of pesticides, weed killers or motorized machinery. This is to create a self-sustaining garden that's as close to a natural ecosystem as possible, which means less work for the gardener. To develop a natural ecosystem, wildlife must be encouraged to live in the garden. Specific plants should be used to attract bees and butterflies. A pond brings frogs and newts, protecting against pests, particularly slugs. The Eco House is the ultimate quality home environment for a sustainable future. It offers practical choices and realistic alternatives to a range of visitors, demonstrating that environmental considerations do not need to sacrifice cost, comfort or appearance. Environmental principles of construction reduce energy demands, making a warmer and more comfortable home that's cheaper to run, at the same time protecting the environment. By using these environmental principles throughout the construction industry, we can begin to create homes geared to meeting the needs of the 21st century.